This is part 2 of He Was Created to Be Man. It is my belief and what I have observed when it comes to the component of relatability as it is with the man is they are relatable on an as-need basis. They concentrate and are sensitive to themselves for the most part. Now, this is not necessarily saying that they are selfish, but I am saying they are created to think of themselves when it comes to the full picture. Now, let me explain that. Men focus on issues subject to themselves as it relates to their decision-making ability and authority. Therefore, it can appear selfish when it's not the full picture in perspective. Also, perhaps the reason it appeared they are only relatable on an as-need basis is because their engines run on self-fuel as well as nurtured support. The energy, creativity, and extraordinary abilities are charged by the self-confidence as well as an ego boost. Relating or communicating when it comes to man is important to them according to the urgency of their own actions. The charge of man's accountability is an issue that it relates to them, but when it comes to the charge of responsibility, it relates to women. Men feel that accountability should not be synonymous with responsibility, for they answer only to themselves, meaning their accountability charge hold the key to their authority according to their actions. A woman's view of accountability sometimes is misconstrued with responsibility. Ladies, there is a difference, and not knowing the difference sometimes can stunt the growth of a relationship. Many times, women and men are not as attentive to how these differences can affect personal growth caused by the consequences of a man's action of accountability. And sometimes this accountability, when a man cannot show or display or prove it, can be detrimental, devastating, and disappointing to him and falter a relationship. And a man's action and behaviors without damage control can many times sabotage the purpose of which the charge was created in him. Once a man becomes disappointed, he administers a self-evaluation of his confidence, and in doing so, he can sometimes become disconnected and avoid relating or communicating until he assesses the status. Meanwhile, he finds some mechanism to falsely rebuild his confidence because he tends to give a shot of temporary confidence to himself. Ladies, a man's shattered strength needs immediate gratification. This mostly derives from the sense of a need for ego boosting because of the loss of power from his support source. Once there has been shattered confidence, broken trust, and or a sense of stripped strength, men execute a mental plan of damage control due to the level of internal pain. Moreover, men, they handle pain different from women, meaning they demonstrate emotions obscurely because they define their egos as manhood, and they feel their egos, when they're hurt, have been at stake. And they try not to appear hurt because what they do is implement an emotional backup plan, is what I call it. This unwritten man rule to reverse the reception of pain into suppression and then filter the pain through emotional cover-up to release the pressure or that pain by any means necessary. Now, this is some men do, sometimes, most men. This is where we come in, ladies. We have to take notice. Because we take it personal when the men decide they don't want, or as we label them, as not communicating or relating to us the way we want them to and when we want them to, when the truth is they haven't learned how to. We expect them to turn on emotions as we do and to relate the way we do. They are altogether different in many areas when it comes to relating. The surprising truth of men is they are just emotional as we are, but communicate those emotional differences differently because they were created with a sense of accountability. We see it as responsibility. Now, accountability derives in them from a direction to find answers, not answer answers. Let's admit, when they are attentive, they are attentive. When they listen, they do listen. When they communicate, they communicate. Now, when a man stops communicating and he becomes distant or display that mistranslated action or behavior, generally we get an attitude and we take it personal. It's sometimes, most times, I'll say, not against us or what we've done. It's just the mood that they're in, his result of his day, what he's experienced that day. And he sometimes gets self-entangled or preoccupied with what he's doing and the issues he's dealing with and his thoughts. It's not always an indictment that he's ignoring us. The simple fact of the matter is simple. It's obvious that it's not the time for discussion. To relate to a man, there has to be a set time, or timing is off. The topic is not appropriate for the mood. Because men are so simple, we have to think simplicity and not conflict. We have to discipline our talk time and our responses. We have to wait for the self-conclusion of the reasoning to see if he's ready to relate according to his actions. Sometimes it ignites an undeniable bond of understanding when we wait. Remember this, ladies. When it comes to communicating with a man, consider his ego first. Then you can drive the conversation exactly where it needs to go. When a woman inspires a man, she caters to his ego. Remember that. When a woman admires a man, she respects his ego. This is when his ego desires us, and he can operate fully in the authority that he was created.